if you have anything, come out as fast as possible and get it to any detachment or any police service that you have available to get to talk to. And Jack just absolutely loves bugs, dinosaurs, anything like that. But Lily loves girly things, but she also loves doing everything with Jack, bugs. They're like best friends, not just brother and sister. Still holding out hope. I don't know why they didn't find anything.
Digital forensics experts from RCMP's cyber unit pulled metadata from home devices, including the Sullivans' phones, tablets, and gaming consoles. One of the most damning discoveries. A paused Netflix cartoon on the kid's tablet, timestamped at 4:12 a.m., May 2nd, hours before they allegedly left. But if the kids were watching cartoons at 4:12 a.m., who turned it off? And more importantly, where did they go next? The deeper investigators dug, the more it felt like this wasn't a tragic accident. This was a planned cover-up. The community that once held out hope was now in shock. The neighbors who had once waved to Melia and Daniel now whispered through curtains and left flowers for two children who were likely never coming home. It began with a video, just over a minute long, that spread across social media like wildfire. In it, two small children, Jack and Lily Sullivan, can be seen playing in what appears to be an orchard. Jack, wearing bright blue rubber boots a few sizes too big, is trying to pluck a green apple from a low-hanging branch. Lily, his younger sister, giggles nearby, her hands sticky from fruit juice and crumbs from a snack pack she clutches in her lap. The camera sways gently, following their movements, capturing them mid-laughter, mid-life, completely unaware that the world would soon know their names for all the wrong reasons. The video was uploaded on May 3, 2025, just one day after Jack and Lily were reported missing from their small Canadian town. For a brief, electrifying moment, it reignited hope. Was this proof of life? Were they simply hiding out with someone they trusted? Had someone rescued them from something darker? Hashtags like hashtag Jack and Lily found and hashtag bring them home flooded the internet. People began analyzing every detail, the trees, the background sounds, the color of the sky. The video was sweet, innocent, even joyful, and it offered a glimmer of light in what had become a haunting mystery. But hope quickly gave way to reality. Authorities confirmed that while the upload date was May 3, it did not indicate when the footage had been recorded. Metadata showed that the video had been filmed days, perhaps weeks, before their disappearance. It wasn't a sign they were alive and safe. It was a memory. A haunting snapshot of who they were before they vanished without a trace. And just like that, what felt like a breakthrough became another dead end. Jack and Lily Sullivan were still missing. As investigators dug deeper into the viral footage, one detail stood out. Not just to law enforcement, but to those who knew Jack and Lily Sullivan personally. The video wasn't filmed by either of their parents, not by Melia, their mother, and not by Daniel, their father. It was taken by someone else. Yet, whoever held that camera, clearly knew them. The angle of the footage was soft, intimate, focused not on perfection, but on presence. On moments. On love. Jack, no older than 7, stomps around in those now famous blue rubber boots, far too big for his little feet. He's grinning wildly, showing off a missing front tooth, as he raises a small green apple triumphantly like a prize. Lily, only 5, stands just a few feet away. Her little hand reaches toward her brother, not to take the apple, but to simply be close to him. They're wrapped in giggles, chewing snacks, wiping sticky fingers on their shirts. A cartoon plays softly in the background on someone's phone, drawing them both into a moment of sibling laughter. This wasn't just home footage, it was a glimpse into a life that felt whole, even peaceful. The kind of memory parents replay late at night when the house is quiet. The kind that holds love so raw it makes your chest ache. And that's what makes it even more devastating. Because the children in that video, vibrant, alive, adored, are now silent. That orchard laughter has been replaced with unanswered questions. That sticky joy, now sits under a shadow of grief. They were happy. They were innocent. And they were loved. Then, something happened. Something no one is willing to explain. The camera might have captured joy, but it also unknowingly filmed the final moments of normalcy before a nightmare swallowed them whole. While the world clung to the sweetness of that orchard video, those beaming smiles, that childlike joy, beneath the surface, a darker truth was beginning to take shape. It started as murmurs, quiet whispers from neighbors, community members, even relatives. Whispers that grew louder as police began to dig. What seemed like a sudden disappearance was now tangled in a backdrop of chaos, dysfunction, and possibly violence. Multiple sources described troubling signs in the Sullivan household long before Jack and Lily vanished. One neighbor recalled seeing Jack with a black eye, weeks before the children went missing. Another spoke of bruises Lily had on her arms and legs, falling down the stairs, they were told. But there were no stairs in the part of the house the kids lived in. Social workers had reportedly visited the home more than once. Unconfirmed but credible reports pointed to the presence of drugs in the house. Not just cannabis, but prescription opioids and unlabeled pill bottles hidden in kitchen drawers and bathroom cabinets. Then there was the tension, something more invisible, but deeply felt by those around them. One family friend described the atmosphere as, like holding your breath around a ticking bomb. Daniel, the father, had a prior arrest for assault. Malihia, the mother, had reportedly missed 3 parenting support sessions ordered by child welfare. To outsiders, the Sullivan family may have looked like a struggling young couple trying to keep it together. But to those closer, it looked more like a powder keg, ready to blow. What's now chilling in retrospect is how the disappearance didn't happen in a vacuum. It happened after warning signs. After calls went unreturned, bruises went uninvestigated, and a growing sense of danger went unspoken. This wasn't just a missing persons case. It was a slow-burning tragedy, layered with signs we all hope weren't ignored. And now, 2 children are gone. May 2nd, 2025. The morning began like any other in the quiet suburban cul-de-sac where the Sullivan family lived. Birds stirred. Garbage trucks passed. But between 8:20 and 9:40 a.m., something unexplainable happened. Jack and Lily vanished. According to their parents, Melia and Daniel Sullivan, they were still asleep when it all unfolded. They claimed that Jack, just 7, and Lily, only 5, dressed themselves, unlocked the back door, a door they say makes no sound, and left the house without waking anyone. No cries. No whispers. No creaking floorboards. They also claimed the children then managed to climb a 6-foot wooden fence in the backyard, without help, without tools, without making a single noise that neighbors or even the family dog might notice. And then, nothing. Over the course of that hour and 20 minutes, the community remained still. No doorbell cameras. No sightings. No one saw 2 tiny children wandering, running, or even walking. The Sullivan neighborhood, known for being close-knit and watchful, had no answers. The police began to suspect something strange when scent tracking dogs failed to pick up any trail. Trained K-9 units searched yards, streets, even trash bins, but there was no scent, no sign, no direction of travel. It was as if Jack and Lily had disappeared into thin air. Investigators later noted. There should have been a footprint. A scrap of clothing. A confused neighbor. A signal. But there was nothing. Just, nothing. This eerie absence, the quietness of the exit, the lack of evidence, and the complete silence of the neighborhood, left detectives wondering. Did Jack and Lily really leave on their own? Or was something far more orchestrated at play? As the clock ticked past that mysterious hour, questions began to rise, and so did suspicion, because what Melia and Daniel described sounded less like a childish escape, and more like a cover story. In the early hours of May 2nd, 2025, panic should have ignited instantly. But in the Sullivan household, the alarm came strangely late. At first, Lily's absence was brushed off casually. Melia told investigators that her daughter was probably feeling sick, maybe avoiding school, not uncommon, she said, for a 5-year-old. But then her story changed. She claimed she heard both children playing earlier that morning, and then suddenly, silence. That detail struck investigators. If Lily was too sick to go to school, how was she up and playing? And how had the sound of her and Jack laughing vanished without anyone noticing them leave? Then came Daniel's version. He said he saw Lily standing in the hallway, barefoot, her hand resting on the wall. But when asked where Jack was, he hesitated, then claimed he remembered what Jack was wearing that day, blue pants and a red hoodie. But if he never saw Jack that morning, how did he know Jack's outfit so precisely? The contradictions didn't stop there. Melia mentioned that they only became worried when the kids didn't respond to her calling their names from the kitchen. But instead of immediate panic, nearly an hour passed before anyone dialed 911 or alerted neighbors. That missing hour quickly became a focus of the investigation. Why the delay? Why didn't either parent, upon realizing both their children were unaccounted for, run out into the yard, pound on neighbors' doors, or scream their names into the street? Even stranger, the official search effort wasn't triggered until after 10:45 a.m., nearly 2 hours after the supposed vanishing. The 911 call, when it finally came in, was calm, almost rehearsed. Detectives grew uneasy. These were not the panicked reactions of shocked parents. These were fractured statements, layered with hesitations, edits, and reversals. Every version of that morning brought a new inconsistency. Every conversation chipped away at the couple's credibility. As investigators later put it, when kids go missing, parents remember every second. They panic, they scream, they run. But the Sullivans? They explained things away. They waited. And they contradicted themselves, again and again. This wasn't just about a timeline error. This was about a timeline unraveling, exposing something darker beneath the surface. What began as a desperate community search for two missing children, Jack and Lily Sullivan, took a sharp, chilling turn within just 24 hours. It wasn't just the children who were missing. It was the truth. By the afternoon of May 3, 2025, the Royal Canadian Mounted Police, RCMP, escalated the case dramatically. They didn't just issue Amber Alerts or organize volunteers. They dispatched full forensic teams to the Sullivans' modest trailer home, stationed at the edge of a rural road just outside Edmonton. Homicide detectives were now on scene. That kind of response so early in a missing persons case is rare. It wasn't a hunch, it was something inside the home, and in the inconsistent, increasingly suspicious statements from Melia and Daniel, that set alarm bells off. Investigators began combing through the small trailer, the children's shared bedroom, the cluttered living room, the narrow kitchen where Melia claimed she last heard them playing. But what they found was far from comforting. The house was not just messy. It was chaotic, toxic, and potentially criminal. Inside, police found drug paraphernalia, unlocked pill bottles, and signs of recent methamphetamine use. They noted stains on the children's bedding, broken child locks, and unsafe wiring. In the living room, a video game console sat inches from scattered syringes, and children's toys were coated in a thin film of dust and ash. In the corner of Jack and Lily's bedroom, a diaper bag half-packed, as if someone was preparing to leave, or had left in a hurry. But it wasn't just the physical state of the home. Detectives noted that Melia and Daniel gave inconsistent timelines, changing details minute to minute. Sometimes Jack left first, sometimes Lily. Sometimes they were in pajamas, other times, fully dressed. The couple couldn't even agree on whether the door had been locked. To trained investigators, the Sullivans weren't grieving, they were deflecting, scrambling, covering. The story wasn't adding up, one detective would later say. You've got two kids supposedly disappearing into thin air, no witnesses, no evidence of where they went. And then you walk into that house, and it doesn't feel like a place where kids were safe. It felt like a place where something bad had already happened. Within hours of the forensic sweep, crime scene tape cordoned off the trailer. RCMP didn't say it publicly, but behind closed doors, they were no longer treating this as a simple disappearance. They were preparing for a potential double homicide. The hope that Jack and Lily had simply wandered off began to fade. What replaced it was much darker. A growing belief that these children never left that house alive. As police sealed off the Sullivan trailer, they fanned out into the surrounding neighborhood, a tight-knit rural community where strangers stand out and children are noticed. But oddly, in a place where nothing goes unseen, no one saw Jack or Lily that morning. The timeline was already murky. Melia and Daniel claimed the children woke up early on May 2nd, quietly dressed themselves, unlocked the back door, climbed a 5-foot fence, and wandered off between 8:20 and 9:40 a.m. No one heard footsteps. No barking dogs. No chatter. Just silence. But in this community, that silence was deafening. It just didn't sit right, said one neighbor. Jack was loud. He'd knock on every door, ask for cookies. Lily always had that little pink bunny. You'd hear her giggle from a block away. Yet on May 2nd, nothing. One neighbor, Mrs. Ellison, who lived directly across the gravel road, told RCMP she was watering her garden that morning. She never saw the children leave the house. No fence climbing. No shadows darting across the yard. She did, however, hear raised voices inside the Sullivan trailer around 7:45 a.m., a man yelling, a woman crying. Then silence. Another neighbor recalled seeing Daniel Sullivan take 2 black trash bags to a burn pit just before 10 a.m. The pit was still smoldering when police arrived later that afternoon. Detectives collected statements, surveillance footage, and dash cam videos from nearby homes and parked vehicles. But so far, no camera ever showed Jack or Lily outside their home that morning. Not walking. Not playing. Not escaping. And then came the digital smoke. A young woman on TikTok, who had previously babysat Lily, posted an old video of the children from 2 weeks earlier. In the comments, she revealed that she had reported Melia to child services multiple times, citing signs of neglect and possible abuse. Lily always had bruises on her back. Jack would flinch if you moved too fast. I loved them so much, but no one listened. This post went viral, and soon Reddit threads, Facebook groups, and Twitter sleuths began dissecting the case. Some users located Melia's public posts from late April, where she wrote cryptic, unstable messages about feeling trapped, overwhelmed, and ready to leave. One comment, just 6 days before the disappearance, read, "Maybe they're better off without me. I'm failing them." It raised a horrifying possibility. Had something already happened to Jack and Lily before May 2nd? Was the timeline fabricated?